I think the first thing that people screw up that prevents them from ever being able to really scale and still pull profits out of the business is that their offer is not set up properly and their lifetime value of their patient is not set up properly, so they're not able to identify who their ideal patient is. First, you've got to figure out what type of patient's going to spend the most money with me. And if it's regen, like that's not that complicated. You know, a joint is roughly going to bring in $5,000 to $7,000 worth of revenue. And that works, that model works. And then you can resell them other stuff, other joints, cross-sell them, weight loss, whatever. Hormones works exceptionally well. Weight loss works exceptionally well. Even like injectables, Botox and fillers works really well if you understand that the lifetime value. If you do a good job the first time, that patient will need filler twice a year, 3 times a year. That patient is going to come in and get Botox again. That patient's going to spend more on skincare and things like that. So you've got to know your offer and your lifetime value first. It's impossible to spend money on marketing if you do not understand who your actual ideal patient is. And then you can start to look at lead generation and lead nurture. Where am I going to get potential new customers from and how am I going to convert them? Because there's really only 2 ways to grow your business. You're either going to get new customers or you're going to get your existing customers to spend more money with you. If you know that you need to get new customers in and keep them longer, 2 different ways to really grow a business, you're now looking at lead generation and lead nurture. After you've identified your offer, your ideal patient, what you're going to sell to people, and your lifetime value, you can now go out and start to get leads. This assumes that you've already figured out your lifetime value. So you know if you want to get a 5 to 7x return on ad spend and your customer's worth X amount of money, you can figure out the math on how much you can spend to acquire customers. But if you don't know the lifetime value of your customer, it's very hard to map out how much you can actually spend and figure out if the numbers on your advertising is even working. It doesn't mean that just because somebody didn't give you a credit card today doesn't mean that they're not going to send their aunt and their uncle next week. If you're doing under $1 million a year, it's pretty difficult to see that light at the end of the tunnel unless your lifetime value is super dialed in. So that's why like a big piece of what we focus on is creating the customer journey and making sure that your patients are going to stay for years. They are going to spend a lot of money. And if we just focus on making exceptional customer experiences with people, there's a higher likelihood that we're going to get that. That's why Randy and Mike's growth has been so sustainable. And we haven't had to run any ads because we built it like the right way on the front end.